Did you know that Ibn Abbas told the companions that if parts of the Quran were missing, they should fill in the gaps with their own poetry? One scribe was too sleepy to write it down correctly. So which words of the Quran can you trust? In the last couple of videos, we talked about the corruption of the Quran from various angles. Today will be the same. We're going to also show yet another example of how the Quran was viewed by some of the companions of Muhammad, as opposed to what we know today as the Hafs, or the Quran according to the Uthmanic Rasm and the Hafs basically reading. Today we're going to talk about Ibn Abbas, and we will of course have our brother Rob Christian, who joins us virtually right now into our studios, unpack that for us. Rob, welcome back.
Thank you, dear brother. God bless you. Thank you for inviting me again to do another video, all for the glory of Christ, so that many Muslims will leave Islam, seeing what we are providing from their own Muslim sources, just to allow them to use their brains and think. Muslims, we do not hate you. Honest to God, we do not hate you. We just want you to think, and then after you thinking, to decide what is good for you. Should you stay in this man-made cult created by Muhammad and his Sahaba, or should you leave Islam and come back home to your Lord and my Lord, Jesus Christ? Amen. So let us show you what people like Ibn Abbas, the cousin of Muhammad, Hibr al-Ummah, the ink of the Ummah himself, the cousin of Muhammad, what he used to say regarding the Qur'an. On the following slide, I want to share with you some information. Ibn Abbas said regarding the Qur'an, and it has all to do with poetry, because Muslims always brag about, the Qur'an is very poetic. But the irony is that Ibn Abbas said the following regarding poetry and the Qur'an. Here's a hadith, dear brother, in Fath al-Bari by the Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, very famous scholar, who basically wrote a multi-volume regarding the sharh, the explanation for Sahih al-Bukhari. That Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, short for Ibn Hajar. And the information you can find here in the bottom, the masdar, the source, and the chain of narration is Isnadahu Hasan. So it's a good hadith, right? Hasan means good. The chain of narration is good. And the source, Fath al-Bari, volume 13, page 437. Brother, I want to ask you to read what is on top, and please translate.
So here is a hadith narration from Ibn Abbas. An Ibn Abbas, meaning from, or narrated from Ibn Abbas. إذا خفي عليكم شيء من القرآن, if you are basically unaware of something, or there is something missing basically from the Quran, فأتبعوه من الشعر. So follow it up with basically a poem or a poetic saying. Then he gives them an example. So the example is قد سن أصحابك ضرب العناق. So your companions have authorized the cutting of the heads. That's the translation in English. وقامت الحرب بنا على ساق. And the war basically originated by the standing, technically speaking, on a foot, or at least, he's trying to say it in a poetic way, because a'naq and saq rhyme with each other. So he was giving him an example. You can say things like this, but the English translation here, our brother will go ahead and read it for you.
Yeah. So the most damaging part is, this is the Ibn Abbas, the cousin of Muhammad, who ate and drank with the Prophet. He is the one saying, Ibn Abbas said, if parts of the Quran are missing or lost, brother, just complete it with your own personal poetry. How is this possible? How can you add to the Quran of Allah, who is supposedly sent down from Allah through Jibreel to Muhammad? How can you play with the Quran as the Sahaba? This is what Ibn Abbas said. And remember, Muhammad called him Hibr al-Ummah, Tarjaman al-Quran, the ink of the Ummah, the translator of the Quran himself, Ibn Abbas. Notice Ibn Abbas commands the Sahaba to add to the Quran as they please from their own wording, from their own words, i.e. poetry. Because clearly people like Ibn Abbas knew inside out, they knew that the Quran is nothing but a man-made fabrication from Muhammad and his scribes. And again, the reference is in the bottom, Fath al-Bari, volume 13, page 437, by the Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, and the grading is Hasan, meaning good hadith. You want to add something on top of this, brother?
Not at all, brother. I mean, it's the screen right there says it all.
It says it all. It's very clear. And you don't need to be a genius to understand that the Muslims, the early Muslims, the Salaf, the Sahaba, were allowed to play with the Quran as if the Quran is nothing but a toy in the hands of the early Salaf, the early Muslims.
And let me say this
generations.
Now. Yeah. The question now becomes, my Muslim friends, you claim that the Quran has a lot of poetic rhyming. You tell me now, based on what Ibn Abbas says, which rhymes in there came from Allah and which were fillers by the companions? Can you tell us the difference? Obviously, it will be difficult, right? But keep that in mind.
Can you tell us which parts of the Quran are the man-made poetry that was added by the hands of the Sahaba themselves? Interesting. Next topic, dear brother. Again, and of course, Ibn Abbas is involved again. The corruption of the Quran by a sleepy scribe of Muhammad who used to write the Quran, let's say on bones, on wood, on animal skin. When he used to write the Quran, he didn't pay attention because he was too tired. And when he wrote one of the ayahs of the Quran from Muhammad, he made a huge mistake, a huge error, corrupting the Quran with his own hands. Let us show you the information from the Islamic books. Here is another hadith, and the isnad is sahih. Here in the bottom, you see isnadahu sahih. Isnadahu sahih. And brother, I want to ask you again to read the Arabic and translate for us.
So, عن ابن عباس, meaning narrated by Ibn Abbas, أنه كان يقرأها, he used to read it. أفلم يتبين, يعني أفلم ييأس. أفلم يتبين, did he not basically discern? ويقول كتبها الكاتب وهو ناعس. The writer wrote it while he was sleepy.
Wow. Wow. So imagine, guys, what is being said here. Ibn Abbas said that when chapter 13, ayah 31 was being written down from Muhammad's mouth by a scribe of Muhammad, the scribe did not drink his Red Bull. 1400 years ago, there was no Red Bull. He was too sleepy, too tired. But when he wrote it, instead of writing Ya'asi, he wrote Yatabayani. It should have been Yatabayani, not Ya'asi. According to who? According to Ibn Abbas, Hibr al-Ummah, the ink of the Ummah, the Tarjaman al-Quran, the translator of the Quran. And again, the Masdar, the source is Fath al-Bari by the Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani again. And as we mentioned, Isnadahu Sahih. The chain of narration is Sahih. Damaging. Very damaging. And here is basically the translation on the following slide. From Ibn Abbas, he used to read it as Yatabayyani, chapter 13, ayah 31. That word in that ayah, it should have been Yatabayyani. But the sleepy scribe wrote instead, because he was not focused, he wrote instead Ya'asi. So Ya'asi, as in today's Quran, should have been Yatabayani, according the Ibn Abbas, the cousin of Muhammad. So how it used to be read in chapter 13, ayah 31, in the correct form, has it not been made clear, Yatabayani, to the believers? But instead, the sleepy scribe wrote, instead of Yatabayani, he wrote Ya'asi. Ya Muslimin, how can Allah allow a sleepy scribe to corrupt the Quran?
Yeah, so basically, instead of being discerning or clear, the writer wrote it that you have to really kind of like feel like you've almost given up, hopeless, becoming hopeless.
Exactly. And in the next video, we're going to bring more corruption about or of the Quran. Thank you.
Absolutely. So let's unpack some of the things that we've covered so far when it comes to the corruption of the Quran. We showed you that Hafs, the most basically famous, prominent, popular reader of the Quran, that is in the popular Quran, the 1924 Cairo edition, used to be a liar, a thief, among many other things. But yet, he's considered somehow to be the guy that Muslims are trusting that his reading was the authoritative reading. Then you have Al-Kisai, who admittedly not only was drinking wine, but he is also openly a homosexual person. You tell me, does Islam allow for these two things to happen publicly or privately? Or is it a crime according to the Islamic law? And then you have Khalaf, who also admittedly stated that he was drinking. And others also reported that he used to drink. How can you drink wine and be in good, basically conscious, be able to recall things accurately? That's amazing wine if that's what you used to. And we're not saying a sip. He's like continuously, that was his habit of drinking. And now we showed you Ibn Abbas, one of the most prominent basically commentators, the father of commentary of the Quran, the cousin of Muhammad, the one that basically Muslims will use to try to convince us that the Bible is corrupt, because Ibn Abbas says, because they cannot find the hadith by Muhammad, somehow Ibn Abbas is important for them when it comes to that. Well, thank you for using Ibn Abbas. Here's what Ibn Abbas says. Ibn Abbas says, if you miss something of the Quran, maybe you couldn't recall it, just fill it up with a poem. Make sure it rhymes, technically speaking. So which part of the Quran that are rhyming right now were in accordance to this advice by Ibn Abbas, meaning it wasn't actually a revelation? That explains why we have so many different readings, because everybody was just filling in the gap. Okay? And then Ibn Abbas also mentioned about a writer that used to be sleepy and gave an example from one of the chapters of the Quran, chapter 13, and says, guess what? He wrote it this way, but it should be read that way. So my Muslim friends, do you still trust in the Quran? Do you still believe that it's perfectly preserved? And which way was it preserved in the preserved tablets in heaven? The way according to Ibn Abbas, or the way according to Ibn Mas'ud, or the way according to Muhammad, or the way according to Uthman? Please help us, because we are at loss here. We cannot really tell which Quran is the real Quran. So will the real Quran please stand up? Until next time, have a blessed day. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel CIRA International and click on the bell so that you receive notifications whenever we publish a new video or go live. I would also like to appeal to you to consider becoming a Patreon patron by clicking the link right below. By doing so, you can give towards the production of these videos. There are also other options for you where you can give to our channel. I thank you from the bottom of my heart.